We're joined now by our North America correspondent Lisa Millar from Delaware. Lisa, exactly where are you?
I'm a couple of kilometres inland from Lewis Beach, Michael, which is one of the areas that is going to feel the brunt of it, already feeling the impact. As you can probably tell from behind me, we've actually sought shelter at one of the many Red Cross shelters that have been set up. We're joined by about 150 other people because many people in this area were actually mandatory evacuated out of their homes, so they had no choice. Some of them clearly are much happier and feeling safer being here than others, but they were told they just had to get out. And let me tell you, we were pretty happy to get off the road as well. We drove from Washington, D.C. over the last few hours, and it was a pretty hairy ride.
And from what you know, does it appear that many people are heeding those warnings to get off the roads, get off the streets?
It was a pretty lonely journey coming this direction. A lot of cars heading away from the coastal strip. We were one of the only ones sort of heading in this direction when there were roadblocks, there were police stopping people going any further to the beach as well. But certainly the people I've spoken to here have said that they've had experience with storms before. They know what happens if they ignore the warnings. And this one had had such a build-up. They'd been told that it was going to be so powerful, this 1 in 100 year event, as some are suggesting it might be, that they weren't going to take any chances at all. Some of the people I spoke to said the water was already coming up their stairs and they just weren't going to hang around, so they've decided to come here and seek shelter. But of course, Michael, as I speak to you, we're still many hours away from it actually crossing the coast. So when they talk about those sustained winds of 150 kilometres an hour, we're getting some pretty hefty winds here, gusts that are coming through, and a lot of rain. Many of the roads were covered with water as we were driving through. We came across the Chesapeake Bay Bridge. For some people who might know that bridge, it's a massively long bridge, and they'd put a wind warning on it. You couldn't drive more than 40 kilometres an hour over it, and you couldn't have caravans or larger vehicles. You could only come across if you were in a car or a four-wheel drive, but they were suggesting that they were going to close that bridge, along with so many of the roads that are closed as well. When you think about it, the trains have all been stopped in the northeast, bus services, 12,000 flights, as Karina was saying earlier, and 60 million people are expected to feel the impact of this storm. It is just quite extraordinary in its size, as Vanessa was indicating, and I think that's why everyone is taking these warnings so seriously.
And with the storm expected to hit landfall in and around New Jersey, Lisa, in about 3 or 4 hours, authorities, not just where you are in Delaware, but states like New Jersey, New York, are preparing for what they fear could be the worst.
With these two other weather systems that are coming down and meeting up with it, they're just not sure. We're told that in the last half an hour or so it did start tracking inland, heading towards us. New Jersey, where it's expected to cross, is not very far away from here. I'm guessing maybe 40 or 50 kilometres away. So we're pretty much going to see the eye of the storm coming across here. Thousands of emergency services out there working. Michael, you've seen storms in the US before. Both of us have. The warnings and the language being used with this one I've not encountered before, when they say that they want people to get out of these areas, move to safety, stay indoors, stay off the roads, and a warning that they're not only putting at risk the emergency services people, but that if you don't survive, they're not going to be capable of coming and getting your remains. That's the actual official government wording that is being used. So certainly people taking that to heart and getting right off the roads and into shelters like this one here.
Lisa Millar from Delaware, stay safe. We'll chat to you a bit later on.